Hi YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going over some last minute DIY gift ideas, and it's all focused around the sentiment of being a meaningful gift. That's what I shoot for when I'm giving a gift. So hopefully this will inspire some ideas if you aren't doing the exact project themselves. And just know that I'm going to explain a lot of different alternatives that you can do along the way. So get ready and let's go. For most of my DIYs today, I found these really great Akasha boards at my local hardware store, but that is in Japan. Just know that any hardwood will work for these projects. Just look up cutting board materials, etc. I just sketched out an arch design using this little tool I have here, and I made sure to draw out where I want my holes as well. Then I just went in with my good old-fashioned jiggity saw and cut out the arches. I have two different lengths, one short and one long, and it was pretty easy. Just make sure you have the right blade. There are certain blades for curves and detail work, and that's what you want for this project. I just made sure to cut out both of my cutting boards so that I'm getting out of this one board, and then I sanded it down a little bit. You can wait to do this till the end, and then you go in with your drill bit, and there's a specific type of drill bit that works well for this, and that is when I cut in my little holes. I made sure to drill first and then go in with the special drill bit. You just tighten it down so there's a specific depth that you go to. And it should come with any standard drill. Honestly, I got a kit. It's just a Black & Decker horrible drill. You just layer the aspects of this bit and drill in using that hole that we already put into the board. And you will want to do this from both sides so that there's no splitting. It can kind of split on the other side if you don't flip it over and drill all the way through, just like that. Super easy. Then I just made sure to sand with 80, then 100, then 150, then 220 grit to really get these to shine. And I just went in with Minwax tongue oil to finish it off. It has a 24-hour period to dry, and then you have to apply a second coat. So just make sure that you allot time for that in this process. So I also got this little board. Again, it's Akasha wood. And you could use it so many different ways. I thought at first I was going to make coasters, which would be a really fun thing to personalize with somebody's logo, somebody's initials, if it's going to your friend, any like inside jokes or mottos that you have. That would be super fun. You can use a Cricut to transfer those things. You can use just like a print transfer that I might try to do later. Or you can get, I think you can get them for like 20, 25 bucks. A wood burning kit, and you can actually burn it into the wood. It doesn't come up super well on a dark wood like this, but initials I think would work well. But it is also really thick, so I thought it would be maybe a little too thick for coasters, like too much of a profile. So my husband is getting a watch for Christmas. I wanted to make a little watch stand that can go on his bedside table, and it can also fit his wallet on. I've got him a new wallet, and I already wrapped it. So now I'm gonna have to use this box as a little bit of a gauge as to how big the base part I want it to be. But yes, I'm going to use my handy dandy little arch making tool as well, and you'll see how it comes together. The rectangular base I cut at a 5.5 inch length, and it has a 4-inch depth, and the arched side is 5 inches tall with a 2-inch radius for the arch. Then the arch that the watch is displayed on is 3 inches deep with a 4.5 inch length and a 1.5 inch radius. This will vary most likely for your specific needs. Then I will just make sure that the display arch is set at an angle so it displays the watch really nice and pretty, just like this. Before attaching everything, I wanted to make sure everything was sanded down really well. I went from an 80 to a 100 to 150 to 220 grit sandpaper in that order. I didn't want to assemble this using screws, and I really wanted to try this wood joinery technique where you drill holes into this tape
and the tape is sticky side up fastened with other tape, as you can see at the ends here. And those are the pilot holes that are the same width as the dowels you will use to make this joinery happen. And then since this is sticky side up, that tape can then be pushed onto this piece that you will be connecting it to, and that should transfer those holes, at least where those holes go. And then you can drill right into those holes and they should join up perfectly. When you drill into this next piece, it helps to have a little stopper so that you don't drill all the way through that board. I just used a regular wood dowel that I cut down to fit into each side of these holes. And this is where we see if it works or not. And it was a perfect fit. I was so excited. I used this same technique for the smaller arch, and it worked like a charm. Then you need to make sure that you glue everything together. I used my favorite wood glue and let it dry, and I'm really excited about the results. I made sure to sand everything once over again, and then I used the same oil that I used on my cutting boards just to make sure it's a really pretty finish. I'm so thrilled, and I can't wait to see his reaction when he opens this on Christmas Day. My next project was to cut out a trivet from these boards. I was pretty excited when I came up with this Swiss cross design. I had seen something like it on Crate and Barrel and thought it would be really fun in acacia wood just like this. I just used my good old-fashioned jiggity saw again to cut this out and sanded all the edges with 100, 150, and 220 grit as well, and coated it in the same tung oil finish. While I don't plan on keeping this for myself, I do love how all of this is coming together. It'll be hard to give away. For my next project, you will just need any sort of container. These I got for like $1.50 each, and they're just bamboo lids. I'm going to be adding a fun little ring to the top of this to make it stand out more and feel a little bit more designer. You just need to drill a pilot hole, and then I use the actual screw I'm going to be using for this project and screw in, and then I use a bolt cutters to cut the top of that on, and that will then screw into both the pilot hole that you see on the ring and the lid itself. Definitely make sure that you drill that hole into your ring straight, and make sure that you do it beforehand because you will split that wood ring. It's fairly brittle if you don't drill that hole first. Then I just stained everything black, which isn't necessary, but I do think it comes out really pretty in the end. It'd be really fun to fill these with little cookies or those dried oranges, cinnamon sticks, and cloves that everybody's doing. That would be a fun little seasonal gift flair. That's what I did with these. Now they're sitting like this on my bar, and I think they're really fun and would be a super awesome gift. Playing off of these fun bar gift ideas, I wanted to kind of put some extra designer flair on this bottle and cork that I already had. You could thrift some super fun bottles and then get a cork like this. And again, you just drill those pilot holes. Then I screw in that screw, and then I use these bolt cutters to cut the top off. And then you can then screw both sides. Sometimes you have to use a needle nose pliers like this into those pilot holes that you have on your ring and the cork itself. And when you screw, it kind of seems like it goes into both sides when you're turning it. It's actually quite simple. You just kind of have to try it yourself. And this is what it looks like stained, and with everything put together, I'm really excited about how all of these turned out. I'm going to have a hard time giving these away. There are so many ways of rethinking this DIY. I just used those little loops because that's what I had, but I really like the idea of like a big wood knob. I'll show you an inspiration picture for that. I think it's pretty neat. This is just a starting point. Definitely consider being even more creative. I did not use all of the wood that I have, and I don't think you need to have a special wood for some of the projects that I'm going to do down the road with it, but especially for cutting boards, that's what I wanted to do, use this specifically for.
because it's a pretty good food safe material because it's such a hard wood. But with the leftovers, I believe I'm going to make some really cool bookends, which I also think would be a great gift. So I'll put some inspiration photos of what I will probably be doing with it right up here. It would be really cool to have these, if you made these bookends with like a handmade bookmark or a book that your friend who reads a lot has been really looking forward to reading. It'd be a cute little gift to do, is like, here's a little handmade thing that has a lot of meaning behind it, and here's that book you wanted. So again, thank you for stopping by, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy Crafting.